Tommy, a young boy with bright eyes and a big dream, packed his little backpack. He carefully placed inside a worn-out copy of the Bible, a juice box, and his favorite teddy bear. Tommy believed he knew where to find God, and he was determined to meet him. He left his house, the backpack feeling heavier than usual, and walked towards the park.
The park was Tommy's favorite place. It was filled with the chirping of birds, the laughter of children, and the rustling of leaves. It felt like a little piece of heaven to him. As he walked, he imagined meeting God. He pictured a grand figure with a long white beard sitting on a throne of clouds. Tommy practiced his introduction in his head, hoping he wouldn't be too nervous to speak. Tommy was sure God would be pleased to see him. After all, he had been a good boy. He helped his mom with chores, shared his toys with his friends, and always said his prayers before bed. Tommy reached his usual bench under the old oak tree. He was surprised to see it was already occupied. Sitting on the bench was an old woman. Her wrinkled face was etched with worry, and her eyes seemed tired. Hesitantly, Tommy approached her. He didn't want to disturb her, but he also didn't want to sit somewhere else. Gathering his courage, he asked in a small voice,
"Excuse me, ma'am, is it all right if I sit here?"
The woman looked up, startled. Her gaze softened as she saw the little boy standing before her, clutching his backpack. A small smile flickered across her lips.
Of course, dear. Come, sit with me.
Relieved, Tommy sat down beside her, maintaining a respectful distance. He wondered why she looked so sad. Maybe he could cheer her up? He decided to offer her his juice box, a gesture his mother always said made God happy.
"I have a juice box, ma'am. It's grape, my favorite."
He wasn't sure if she liked grape, but it was the only flavor he had. The woman's eyes widened in surprise. She shook her head gently.
No thank you, dear. You enjoy it.
Tommy felt a little disheartened. He really wanted to share, to do something kind. He looked inside his backpack, hoping another idea might magically appear. That's when he saw them, his favorite Twinkies, packed with love by his mother.
"I have Twinkies?"
He offered again, this time his voice laced with hope. The woman's lips curved into a wider smile.
Twinkies. Now those sound good, but only if you share them with me.
Tommy's heart soared. He quickly pulled out the pack and gave her one. He unwrapped the other and took a big bite, the creamy filling melting in his mouth. They sat in comfortable silence, enjoying their unexpected treat. They walked together to the bus stop, Tommy struggling a little under the weight of the grocery bag. He didn't mind though. He felt happy, helpful, and surprisingly close to God. He hadn't seen a grand figure or a throne of clouds, but he felt a warmth spread through him.
You remind me of my grandson. Thank you for your kindness, Tommy. You have a heart of gold.
As the bus arrived, the old woman turned to Tommy, her eyes filled with tears. Tommy boarded the bus, feeling a sense of contentment he hadn't felt before. He realized that he didn't need to go on a grand journey to find God. He had found him right here, in the park, in the shared smiles and simple acts of kindness.
"Goodbye."
He waved goodbye to the old woman, watching as the bus pulled away. He felt lighter than he had when he first arrived at the park, like a weight had been lifted from his small shoulders. Walking back home, Tommy held on to this newfound feeling. He realized that God wasn't someone you went looking for in faraway lands. God was in the everyday moments, in the kindness we shared, the love we gave, and the joy we brought to others.
It's like God is everywhere in the little things.
He thought about the old woman's smile, her words of gratitude, and the way she reminded him of his own grandmother. He understood that God was not in a grand appearance, but in the simple act of sharing his Twinkies and helping someone in need.
I guess God is in the small things we do for each other.
Tommy continued on his way, his heart brimming with a newfound understanding. He knew now that God didn't live in a faraway heaven. He lived in the hearts of people like him, ready to be discovered through love, kindness, and a shared Twinkie on a sunny afternoon.